Hi, I'm Nicole Burke, and I'm on a mission to bring back the kitchen garden. In the kitchen garden, one of my favorite plants to grow is cilantro. Cilantro is so delicious when you get to pick it and then eat it right away. And the flavor is just totally different than what you have in cilantro varieties from the grocery store. Plus, it's a total bummer to buy organic cilantro from the grocery, bring it home, put it in the fridge, and pull it out a day or two later, and it's one big pile of mush. Has that happened to you? It's happened to me. Cilantro is pretty easy to grow in the garden. The seeds are nice and big, so it's easy to separate them and put them in the right spot. The seeds are actually edible too. They're coriander. You might recognize that name as a spice in your kitchen. So they're coriander. You can use them just in your kitchen as is, or you can plant them and you'll get cilantro. One of the challenges with cilantro is that it bolts quickly. Bolting is the process in the plant when it's starting to regenerate and create seeds for the next season's growth. So what cilantro does when it gets too hot is it produces this thick center stem, and that thick center stem creates this big tall plant and all these tiny little flowers. Each of these flowers, believe it or not, is going to turn into a little pod of coriander, every single one. So one little plant of cilantro could literally produce hundreds and hundreds of coriander or new cilantro plants next season. It's kind of cool. There are a lot of good parts about that whole process, but the bummer is that if you're wanting just the normal cilantro leaves, you're not really going to get them once this plant starts to bolt. So the cilantro leaves we're used to are kind of like this, but once the cilantro starts to bolt, the leaves change shape and they're more feathery like this one. And the taste is a little different. You can still taste the subtlety of cilantro with these, but it's totally different, or not totally different, but it's not as good as this one. Cilantro can still be used throughout this whole process. So you can eat the flowers, you can eat the little feathery leaves, and you can still eat the bigger leaves that are down at the base of the plant. But soon this plant, as soon as it starts to dry out, most of it's kind of finished off. So the main thing you want to do is keep your plant growing as long as possible without letting it start to bolt. So first thing to do is plant it early. Plant it early in the spring. As soon as you can after the threat of frost, you want your cilantro to be growing. You may even want to start seeds indoors so that you get as much growing time as possible before it will start to bolt when the weather and the temperatures rise. So plant it early, and then you could plant it with a little bit of shade from other plants. So as it starts to grow, you want to think about maybe it could have a little shade from a tomato plant or a pepper plant so that it doesn't get so hot and start to bolt quicker than you want it to. The next thing you can do once it does start to bolt is you can cut that thick center stalk right away and kind of stay on top of it. The plant will then send out some side shoots and you'll get a little bit of extra cilantro before the plant finally gives up and just bolts altogether. The next thing you can do to keep getting cilantro is to keep planting it. So when you start to see it bolt, you could go ahead and put some more seeds in the ground or some younger plants so that you get a continuous supply of fresh, awesome cilantro. Finally, the way to have more cilantro and for it not to bolt as quickly is to simply plant slow bolt cilantro. So if you look for cilantro seeds, you'll find this as an option. Oftentimes, slow bolt cilantro is just that. It's been created to not bolt nearly as quickly as the typical cilantro varieties. Still, everything else these are from Seeds of Change, 100% certified organic, so not a GMO seed or anything like that, but just created to modified. I don't think it's modified. I don't know how they did it, but they did it, and they did it in an organic way, and you can plant it and it won't bolt nearly as quickly as these guys. So those are the main ways to keep your cilantro from bolting. But like I said, even if they do bolt, you're gonna get coriander seeds and you'll have cilantro for literally the rest of your life. One of my favorite parts about cilantro flowers, other than the fact that they're beautiful and edible, is that the butterflies and the bees absolutely love them. Ladybugs too. So oftentimes I've got tomatoes and peppers that are just starting to take off when the cilantro begins to bolt, because that's about the time that those temperatures match up. And so the bees and the butterflies are like hanging out on the cilantro flowers, and then they end up bumping into the peppers and the tomatoes, which vibrates their leaves and helps them pollinate and produce more fruit for me. So I just think it's a win, win, win. That's cilantro for you. You got to try it, and you've got to plant it in your kitchen garden. And when you do, invite me over, because mine has all bolted. Thanks so much for watching, and thanks for bringing back the kitchen garden with me. I'm Nicole Burke, and I will see you next time.